Donald Trump, thank you for being with us.
Good morning.
Did you watch the debate last night? The Republicans were talking about business. I was wondering what was your take on them?
Well, it was very interesting because we saw Thompson for the first time, and actually he didn't look well to me.
He didn't.
I don't know what it was.
What is it?
You know, this is not Ronald Reagan. The guy just didn't look well, and he's not a very dynamic guy. You know, I've been hearing how dynamic, how incredible, and he certainly hasn't proven to be that thus far. Now, maybe there's something that we're just all missing, but you know, they keep comparing him to Ronald Reagan, and I don't get it.
Do you have a favorite in the field, Republican or Democratic side?
Well, I think that Romney did very well in the debate, and I think that Rudy did very well in the debate. And Rudy's been a friend of mine for a long time. He's a very talented guy. He's a great guy, and I think it looks like it's boiling down to those two. And, you know, I can say this, Rudy was a terrific mayor, and he is going to be tough to beat, I believe.
Is Rudy a hothead?
No, and I know him very well. I mean, I know this man very well. He's very, very solid. He's a solid guy, and he'd be a great president. I think he's going to get the Republican nomination, and I think Hillary's going to get the Democratic nomination, and it's going to be an amazing contest.
So who do you support between Rudy and Hillary?
Well, I won't say that yet because they both asked me that question, you know. But I won't say that yet, but because it's not appropriate to say it yet, to be honest with you. I know who I would support, but it just wouldn't be appropriate. I will say this. Rudy has to do something on the war because anybody that supports the war, in my opinion, cannot get elected.
Would America be ready to have a Republican and Democratic battle between two New Yorkers?
I think so. Well, I think nobody's going to have a choice because I think it's going to be them. You never know what happens. Lots of crazy things happen, but I think it's going to be them. But again, the war issue has to be cleared up by the Republicans. You look at what happened even to McCain within the Republicans, where he took a more hawkish stand. He took a strong stand on the war, and he got wiped out. I think the war, if anybody is even slightly in favor of the war, I don't believe they can win the election.
Hey, Donald, it's Willie Geist.
Hi, Willie.
How are you? You
Good.
Considered running in the year 2000. The field, frankly, we've been talking, looks a little thin. They could use a little something. Any thoughts to getting back in and giving it a run?
Well, I didn't really want to run. There was an independent party. There was a group of wild people. They wanted me to run, and they came to me and they asked me to run, and I had no interest. But it certainly got a lot of press like I was running, and I was not running. I never did. And even now, there are all sorts of websites for me to run. I guess, you know, when I make speeches and 45,000 people show up, people say maybe he should run. But, you know, honestly, with Hillary and with Rudy looking, and I think Michael Bloomberg, who's a great friend of mine and a great guy, and I think he feels the same way. You know, Rudy is somebody that endorsed him and supported him, and I don't see Michael running for that reason. And frankly, if Rudy wouldn't win, maybe Michael would do it. But as far as myself, I just love what I'm doing. We're doing a good job. We have, I've become one of the biggest developers in the world, and on top of that, The Apprentice, as you know, has been a tremendous hit, and it just got renewed for 2 more seasons. In fact, we start shooting that in another 2 weeks.
Well,
and I'm just having a good time. And tonight on MTV, you have Pageant Place, which is something that I also own. So.
Willie and I think that is a fantastic idea. The only way it could be better is we put Mika in that room. I think we need four women in that room.
Well, Mika's equally beautiful to the Miss Universe and all of the people. She's got the beauty. I'm not sure that she would like to be in that. You have to see these people, they really, really go at it, and I don't think Mika needs that at this stage.
You've never worked with Mika.
She can hold her own, Donald.
I think she can. No, I suspect she can.
Well, Donald, if you change your mind on running for president, you have my vote. I just want to say that
publicly. That's great.
Well,
and you guys have my vote. I love your show. I think it's great.
Thank you. I have to ask you about your favorite subject, Donald. Rosie O'Donnell's got this new book out, Celebrity Detox, and she basically turns on Barbara Walters, the woman who gave her the job on the show.
What a surprise.
How does she justify that?
Well, I think it's terrible. Rosie had, as you know, she was thrown off television. Her ratings were terrible. She had failed in a Broadway play, and her magazine was a total disaster. I guess it was McCall's or something, and they ended up closing it up.
Don't hold back.
After they changed the name to Rosie. And Barbara gave her a second chance. And, you know, to be honest with you, her ratings only became good after she started the fight with me. Her ratings were just going along pretty much as they were. And then in December, we had a big fight, and I decided rather than, not saying anything, I would say something, which I think was the right thing to do. I have no regrets about that whatsoever. But that's when her ratings went up. And, so I want to take some credit. Actually, to be honest, ABC should send me a nice big fat check.
I've never quite seen the appeal. I know you haven't either of Rosie O'Donnell. I know she has
I don't get it. I don't get it. I know her very well. She came to my wedding.
Oh, wow.
Not as my guest, as somebody else's guest, but... And I got extremely angry because the birthday cake was wiped out. She wiped it out.
Okay.
She is a total disaster. I mean, I know her well. I know her as well as anybody probably knows her. She's a nasty, mean woman. She's a real disaster, and she's not a very smart person, I will tell you that. And her book is, you know, not something that most people are going to want to read.
It is a pleasure to have you on the air.
You're looking around and you're like, I thought we ordered 2 cakes. They're all gone.
Well, Donna, we'll be buying your book in any way. Think big, kick ass. Watch the MTV show tonight. And, of course, The Apprentice coming back soon. Thanks for being with us, Donna.
Thank you all very much. Keep it up. Great show.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Donald Trump.
Rosie becomes less appealing by the day, and I think chewing out Barbara Walters, your boss, is probably not the best way to go.
No, it's first, she was never appealing in the first place. It's
That's
one thing to
true.
pick a fight with Donald Trump. You pick a fight with Barbara Walters,
yeah,
she'll eat you. You know what? I hate to say this, I never thought I would. I'm on Donald Trump's side completely. He is telling the truth. If you read his statements about his conversation with Barbara Walters, he's not lying.
Huh?
Anyway.
You know where I stand. Trump.
I know you do. Willie Geist.
All right, Tucker.
Thanks, Willie.
Yes, that's right. Well, speaking, Tucker, of people you really do not want to see naked, Rosie O'Donnell is feuding again. Actually, Rosie, I think we have seen your butt. If I remember correctly, it was just about a month ago. I think we have the footage here. Yeah, there it is. Maybe not the butt, but we've seen plenty of Rosie O'Donnell, more than we ever needed to see. Tucker, there was also a story about Rosie yesterday at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. She was at a ladies' lunch attended by high school girls, Barbara Walters, all these refined women. She was asked about Donald Trump, grabbed her crotch and said, quote, "He can eat me." So she's really a sweet, sophisticated woman, I think. She's a real sweetheart, isn't she? Tucker, while I was gone, first they took Sanjaya from me.
Yeah, they did.
Now they've taken Rosie O'Donnell from me. What is it that you'd like for me to talk about every day?
Honestly, I'm begging for Roseanne Barr. No, truly. I mean, that actually would be the answer to our prayers.
She's actually funny. She's disgusting, but she's actually funny,
Yeah.
which separates her from Rosie, in my opinion. But we have a long-standing policy, as you know, on this show, that when Donald Trump makes news, we lead with it. It's a respect thing. It only took about 24 hours for the Donald to speak out on yesterday's Rosie O'Donnell, Elizabeth Hasselbeck slugfest on The View. In a shocker, Trump did not trash Rosie.
Well, I think Elizabeth Hasselbeck, who called me obnoxious, is correct. I didn't see her say it, but if she called me obnoxious, she's probably 100% correct. But, you know, in all fairness to Elizabeth, she's sort of known as being the dumbest person on television. I mean, here's a woman who's totally in favor of the war in Iraq. She thinks it's wonderful. You know, Elizabeth is over her head, I suspect, when she talks about many subjects.
He always goes for the superlative, the dumbest person on television. He's too good.